Isang taon pa lang kami graduate, pero ang bilis ng shift ng buhay. Last year, pare-pareho pa kaming nasa campus, pare-pareho pa kaming puyat, pero alam mo kung saan mo sila mahahanap. You could walk to someone's boarding house. You could bump into them sa hallway. You could see them at the library. You could say, tara kain, tara tambay, and it would work because the world was smaller and the stakes were lighter. Ngayon, parang lahat may sariling orbit tapos ako, etong tao na gustong magtugma yung schedules namin na parang kaya ko silang ipila sa iisang araw. Accountant ako, early 20s, and hindi ko alam kung normal ba na ganito yung lungkot na tumatama kapag nalalate ka sa schedule na ginawa mo sa isip mo. During busy season, parang may dalawang buhay ako. Yung isa, yung life sa work na puro deadline, spreadsheet, checking, documentation, recon, tapos yung utak mo nakafocus na dapat walang sablay kasi kapag may mali, babalik sa'yo yung tanong at sa'yo din babagsak yung oras na mawawala. Yung isa, yung life sa labas na dapat may oras ka pa sa pamilya, sa church, sa sarili, at sa mga kaibigan na dati, hindi mo kailangang pag-effortan yung oras nila. Most days, ang routine ko nagsisimula bago pa magising yung mga kapitbahay. I wake up, I wash my face, I make my coffee strong enough para hindi ako mag-drift habang nagre-review ng emails. Habang nag-aayos ako, naririnig ko yung small sounds ng bahay, yung kaluskos ng nanay ko sa kusina, yung TV sa sala na laging may morning show, yung electric fan na parang laging may kaunting kaluskos sa gilid. I take the jeep, then I take the train when I can. Tapos yung pila, yung siksikan, yung pawis na hindi mo alam kung sa'yo ba or sa katabi mo parang normal na lang. Sa EDSA, traffic is not even a complaint anymore. It is a setting. Like humidity, like noise. Pag nasa desk na ako, I become the version of me na kaya mag-explain ng variance at kaya maghanap ng missing entry na parang treasure hunt. I can be firm, I can be organized, I can sound calm even when my head is counting 10 things at once. I can talk to seniors and managers like I belong there. Kahit minsan may part pa rin sa akin na gustong mag-message sa tropa at mag-check kung okay pa ba kami. Yung barkada ko, iba-iba kami ng field. May engineer, may nurse, may finance, tapos may isa pang nasa tech side ng finance na laging overtime. We all went to the same university in Manila, same org circles, same cafeteria jokes, same commute stories, same stress. We graduated a year ago and everybody promised the same thing, na kahit busy, hindi mawawala. Hindi naman siya kasinungalingan, pero ngayon, parang ang daming maliliit na bagay na kumakain sa promise na yun hanggang maging manipis siya. Nung una, akala ko adjustment period lang. First job shock, learning curve, katawan mo na naninibago sa sitting all day, sa standing all day, sa shifting, sa corporate face na kailangan suotin kahit ayaw mo. So I kept initiating. Kasi gano'n naman ako. I am the one who plans, the one who asks, the one who remembers birthdays and small details. Not because I want applause, but because I feel safe kapag may structure. Kapag may schedule, parang may proof na buhay pa yung connection. I started with something easy. Sunday lunch somewhere in Quezon City kasi halos lahat kaya pumunta at kung hindi man kaya, at least hindi siya sobrang layo. I suggested the place near a main road. Nothing fancy, just decent food, enough space para hindi kami sumigaw. I sent the message with too many options, like I was trying to make the world easier for them. I wrote, we can do after church, we can do late lunch, we can do early dinner, whatever works. The responses came in pieces. Yung engineer, nag-react agad tapos sabi niya game siya basta hindi siya bigla ipatawag sa site. Yung nurse, nag-scene lang, then later nag-reply na she will try depende sa duty. Yung finance friend, nag-send ng thumbs up pero walang specifics. Yung isa, sabi may family thing pero tingnan niya. I watched that chat the whole week habang nag-i-email ako at nag-clear ng open items. Sa utak ko, it was already set. I imagined us laughing about random campus memories, sharing work stories, complaining about commuting, comparing salaries in a careful way, like people who are happy for each other but also trying not to feel left behind. I imagine being able to say I miss you without sounding needy. Dumating yung weekend, then Sunday morning with my family like usual yung kind of Sunday na tahimik yung flow. After Mass, I stayed a bit, sat down, and tried to pray properly. Hindi yung prayer na checklist. I asked for patience, for a softer heart, for less resentment because I could already feel it building in me even though nothing had happened yet. I told myself not to make this about me because people are trying in their own ways. Pag uwi ko sa bahay, nagbihis ako, nag-ayos ng buhok, nag-spray ng cologne na pang-office para lang ma-feel ko na I am going somewhere and that I still have a life outside work. Then the cancellation started like a slow leak. Yung nurse friend texted first. She said may nag-swap na kasama niya pero biglang nag-sick yung ibang staff so they asked her to cover and she could not refuse. I know how that sounds and I know it happens. Nurses do not get clean boundaries when the floor is short-staffed. I replied, okay, ingat ka, and I meant it. Then yung engineer said may meeting sa site na hindi pwedeng i-move kasi may inspection kinabukasan and kailangan nila mag-ayos ng listahan. He sent a voice note with wind sounds, like he was outside and I heard trucks in the background. I replied, okay, next time, and I tried to keep my tone steady. Then the finance friend said may bigla ang family obligation. He did not say more. I stared at that message longer than I should have because that was the one that felt vague. I typed okay, hope everything is fine. Then I deleted the last part and just sent okay kasi ayoko magmukhang nangungulit o nanghihingi ng paliwanag na hindi niya kayang ibigay. The fourth friend did not reply until an hour before we were supposed to meet, then said he was still in Makati stuck in something that became longer than planned. I read it, then I put my phone down on the bed and I just sat there, dressed and ready, feeling foolish in a quiet way. Ang weird ng adult loneliness. Kasi hindi siya loud. It is not the kind na umiiyak ka agad. It is the kind na you look around your room and everything is normal, the electric fan is still spinning, your mother is calling you for lunch, the neighbor is playing music, and yet you feel like you are being erased slowly. Parang habang nagke-cancel sila, may maliit na part sa akin na nagsasabi, maybe you are not important enough anymore. I tried to be mature about it. I told myself they are not doing this to hurt me. I told myself I am not their priority and that is normal. I told myself adulthood is messy and you cannot demand the same access you had in university. Pero kahit na alam ko yun, may sting pa rin. Kasi nung students kami, kapag may kailangan, we showed up. Kapag may problem, we found ways. Kapag may celebration, we squeezed it in. Ngayon, kahit celebration, parang kailangan mo munang manalo sa schedule lottery. After that canceled Sunday, I stopped initiating for a while. Hindi dahil gusto ko magtampo, but because I did not trust myself not to sound bitter. I focused on work, on fixing my own life, on being the kind of responsible adult na hindi umaasa sa group hangouts para maging okay. I helped my parents with bills when I could. I did groceries, I did chores, I went to church, I tried to exercise, even when my body felt like it was carrying the week. At night, I would lie down and scroll. See people posting barkada trips to Tagaytay, beach weekends in Batangas, reunions in places that look easy, and I would feel this small shame, like I failed at something basic. Then, one night, around midweek, the nurse friend called me out of nowhere. Not a chat, not a voice note, an actual call. I was in the middle of checking something on my laptop, still wearing my work shirt kahit nasa bahay na ako. Kasi that is how my brain stays on task. I answered half, expecting small talk. Maybe she finally had time, pero hindi siya small talk. Her voice was controlled but you could hear something trembling. She said she was outside the hospital, she could not stop shaking, and she did not want to go home alone. She said she tried to book a ride but her phone was about to die, and she just needed someone she trusted to stay on the line with her. She did not cry loudly, but you could hear her breathing like she was trying to keep herself together. All my bitterness felt cheap in that moment. I told her I will come. I grabbed my wallet. I told my mother I needed to go out. I did not explain much. I took the quickest route I could, using whatever transport was available, because at that hour the trains were slower and the roads were still full. When I got there, I saw her sitting near the entrance, shoulders curled in, hair pulled back tight the way she always did on duty. She looked smaller than I remembered. She tried to smile when she saw me, that polite smile people use when they do not want to burden anyone, and I hated that she felt the need to look okay for me. We walked to a nearby place that was still open, not to eat, just to sit somewhere lit. She told me about her shift in pieces. May patient na grabe yung condition, may pamilya na hindi nila alam paano mag-decide, may senior na strict, may paperwork na endless, tapos may moments na she had to act calm even when she felt like she was breaking inside. She said she did not want to scare her parents, she did not want to unload on her coworkers, and she felt like her friends from university would not get it, except maybe me, because at least I understand what it is like to carry responsibility that does not end when you clock out. I listened, and I realized something I did not want to admit before. Our cancellations were not just people being careless. They were people being stretched thin in ways we did not talk about in the group chat because we wanted to keep things light, because we still wanted to pretend na kaya pa natin yung old version ng friendship. On the way home, we stayed quiet. Before she got off, she said sorry about last Sunday, and I told her it is okay, and this time it really was okay, because now I had a face and a sound behind the word duty. It was not a vague excuse. It was her hands shaking in the cold air outside a hospital. After that night, I did something I usually avoid. I messaged the group chat again, but not to plan. I asked, "Kumusta talaga kayo lately?" And then I added English because I did not know how to make it sound casual. I did not add jokes. I did not add emojis. I just asked. The replies came slower, but they were heavier. The engineer replied that he has been staying near the site most weekdays, and sometimes he goes home and feels like he barely lives there. He said he is learning things, but he is also scared of making mistakes because the projects are real and people can get hurt if something goes wrong. He said he is trying to save money to help his family, and he does not want to say no when his boss asks him to stay longer because he still feels replaceable. The finance friend replied later that night. He apologized for being vague. He said something happened at home and he has been helping a sibling with expenses. He said he did not want to talk about it because he did not want pity and he did not want to sound like he was complaining. He said he has also been struggling with the pressure to look successful because everyone assumes finance people are always fine. He said he has been counting his money carefully, not because he is irresponsible, but because life is expensive in a way that hits you when you start paying for more than yourself. The last friend, the one in the tech side, replied with a long message that surprised me. He said he has been taking side gigs after work, doing small tasks online to add income because his job is okay but not enough to feel secure. He said he started commuting at odd hours and his body clock is messed up. He said he misses us, but every time he thinks of meeting, he sees his calendar and feels tired before he even leaves the office. I read those messages and felt something shift. Not a full relief, but a change in where my anger landed. It stopped being about they do not care and became we are all trying to hold our lives with hands that keep sleeping. Still, kahit na naiintindihan ko, may part pa rin na nasasaktan. Understanding does not automatically remove loneliness. It makes it quieter, but it stays. So, I tried a different approach. Instead of planning a big reunion, I asked for something smaller. I asked if anyone wanted to walk after church on a Sunday, just a short catch-up, even if it was only one person. No dinner, no long travel, no expensive place. I framed it as I need fresh air and company if you are free. Only the engineer replied yes, and even that yes came with uncertainty. He said he might be in Manila that weekend, and if he is, he will join. I said, okay, no pressure, and I meant it. That Sunday, I went to church again. After Mass, I waited near the gate feeling both hopeful and prepared to be alone. I kept telling myself that being alone is not a failure, it is just a day that looks like this. I check my phone, then force myself not to. I look at families walking together, friends taking photos, teenagers laughing, and I tried not to compare. Then I saw him walking towards me with that half smile he always had, like he was amused by life even when it was hard. He looked different, a bit leaner, a bit more serious around the eyes, but he was there. We walked, not fast, just enough to move. We talked about his work in a way that was more honest than our group chat. He talked about the site, about the responsibility, about the constant noise, and about the silence when he goes back to his rented room and realizes he has not spoken to anyone casually all day. I told him about mine, about deadlines, about the feeling that your brain keeps working even when you are already home, about the fear of being the weak link, about the pressure to be competent all the time. I also told him about my bitterness, and I said it in a careful way, like I was describing a bruise, not pointing fingers. He did not defend himself. He did not make excuses. He just nodded, then said he still thinks of us, but every time he cancels, he also feels bad because he remembers how easy it used to be. He said he worries that one day we will all just become names in each other's phones. People we used to know, people we used to love from a distance. We sat somewhere after our walk, not in a fancy cafe, just a small place where you can order a drink and not feel rushed. We stayed for a while, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe properly. Not because everything was fixed, but because at least one person made space. When I got home, I did not rush to send a message to the group chat about how nice it was. I just sat with the feeling. Later that night, I prayed again, and this time, my prayer was not about forcing everyone back into the old shape. It was about asking for grace to let friendships become something new without losing the core. A few weeks after that, something aligned, not in a magical way, just in a rare, practical way. The nurse friend had a free day, the finance friend had a window between obligations, and the tech friend said he could step away for a couple of hours. No one could do a trip, no one could do a long dinner, but we could do an early evening meet in a place that was easy for most, somewhere with decent transport access, somewhere we could leave without guilt if someone had to go. I suggested it with low expectations. I did not overplan. I did not send 10 options. I just said I will be around this area at this time. If anyone can drop by, I would be happy to see you. And if you cannot, I understand. And somehow they came, not all at once, but they came. One arrived first, then another, then another. We looked at each other like we were checking if this was real. There was awkwardness at first, because we had been apart long enough that we were not sure where to start. But then someone mentioned something from university, then someone laughed, then the room warmed up. We did not do the usual group photo because nobody felt like performing. We did not compare salaries like we used to joke about. We talk about what we eat when we get home late, about how commuting makes you feel like your day gets swallowed, about how your body changes when you work nonstop, about how parents age faster than you expect, about how you want to help but you also want to breathe. There was a moment when the finance friend looked down at his hands and said he is sorry for disappearing, and the nurse friend reached out and touched his wrist briefly like a small anchor. The engineer friend talked about his fear of being the reason someone gets hurt on site, and the tech friend admitted he has been so focused on earning extra that he forgot what rest feels like. I told them about my loneliness, and it came out in Tagalog, honest but not harsh. I said minsan akala ko ayaw niyo na sa akin. Tapos na-realize ko na hindi pala ganun. Pero masakit pa rin kapag paulit-ulit ako naghihintay. No one got defensive. No one turned it into a big confrontation. They listened and then they started saying their own versions of the same fear that they are losing people without meaning to, that they want connection but their days are packed, that they feel guilty for being unreliable, and that they do not know how to fix it without breaking themselves. We agreed on something that felt practical but also sincere. We said we will stop promising big plans that we cannot keep. We will stop saying soon kapag hindi naman sure. We will do smaller meetups, 2 people at a time if needed, quick check-ins, walking, coffee, anything that fits. We will be more honest when we cannot, and we will not disappear without a word. We will treat each other like people with full lives, not like characters who should always be available. When we finally stood up to leave, it did not feel like the end of a reunion. It felt like the start of a different kind of friendship. One that accepts that we cannot go back to campus days, but also refuses to let everything fade quietly. Pag uwi ko that night, I was tired in a normal way, not the heavy kind. I sat on my bed, phone in my hand, and I looked at the group chat again. The messages were still there, the scene stamps, the old plans that never happened, the long gaps. But now there were new messages too, the kind that does not look impressive from the outside but means more than any planned trip. Ingat ka sa duty bukas. Good luck sa deadline mo. I am near your area next week if you are free for 20 minutes. I know this will not stop the cancellations completely. Life here does not suddenly become less chaotic. Traffic will still be there. Shifts will still change. Family needs will still show up at the worst times. Work will still demand more than it should. Burnout will still creep in even when you try to be careful. But I realized I was asking the wrong question before. I kept asking, why are they not showing up for me the way they used to? The better question was, how do we show up now in the life we actually have? Hindi ko pa rin kaya maging chill na parang wala lang kapag may plan na hindi natutuloy. I still feel that small ache because I am human and I want to feel chosen. Pero ngayon, kapag nag-cancel sila, hindi ko agad iniisip na ako yung problema. I try to imagine their day, the weight they are carrying, the things they do not say in a casual chat because they are trying to keep going. And I also learned to do something I was not good at. I learned to ask for help directly, not in hints, not in big gestures, but in clear words. I learned to message one friend, not the whole group, and say, "Can you talk tonight? I am not okay." I learned to accept that sometimes only one person will be available, and that is still friendship. Maybe this is what adulthood does. It turns friendship from something automatic into something you choose again and again, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is messy, even when it is smaller than before. If you are reading this and you feel like your friends are slipping away, I do not have a perfect answer. I just know that most of the time it is not personal, but it still hurts, and both can be true. I also know that if you want to keep people, you have to stop testing them with silent expectations and start talking like you actually trust them. Tonight, I will sleep, then tomorrow I will wake up and do the same commute, the same work, the same responsibilities, pero may kaunting gaan kasi kahit magulong schedule ng lahat, may proof na kapag kaya, they will still find a way to meet me halfway. And when they cannot, at least we have learned to keep the door open with honest effort instead of promises we cannot carry. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for more stories. Once again, I'm Lechon, and I'll see you next time.